Welcome to Talk 1260 KTRC, the Humanity Behind the Vanity. This is Dr. Daniel Ronel. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon, here with my wife, Betsy Ronel, and a very special guest today, Dr. Scott Thomas, our team member, PhD, shaman, Native American. We're going to have a great discussion. I wanted to say that we are generously sponsored by the makers of Artifil and the Pain Buster, iFlow. And do we have any quick... oh yeah, there's 2 lectures coming up. They're not really lectures, they're events, interactive events that I'm going to give on December 4th at Be Beautiful Salon.
What time?
From 6 to 8. Delicious catering. And then December 8th at La Posada from their award-winning restaurant.
Nice.
Also from 6 to 8. And there's going to be a lot of door prizes and a silent auction at Be Beautiful. And La Posada is also going to offer some spa services, and then
you get some free stuff out of this. Or
right.
Not
And
you,
then
but people coming.
Okay, yes, probably gift bags at La Posada, and then for me, obviously, if you go and you want to have some surgery or something like that, you'll get a huge discount.
I'll be there. Apply.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Restrictions apply.
Right, of course.
So I need to know.
Right. Okay. So anyway, let's get on with the show. So Scott, what do you want to talk about?
Well, we have a lot of holidays coming up, and holidays can be a fun and wonderful time, but a lot of times they don't quite live up to your expectation. Right. They can also turn difficult, disappointing, depending upon how much expectation you have about that. And I think all of us have been through at least a few holidays that turned out to be total disasters.
Right.
And I thought it would be nice to talk about what goes on there, what is that about, and how can you avoid that? How can we have sort of closer to the holiday that we envision, that we want? And one of the things I was thinking about earlier is what are these things? What are these holidays? What is that about? And anyone you ask about that, they're going to say, it's a special time. It's a special time for family.
Yeah.
It's a special time for getting together and sharing, gratitude, food, joy, just time together.
Right.
Which, that's really different sometimes from how people describe it after the holiday.
That's what they hope for. Reality is much different.
Yeah, they talk about everything that didn't go wrong.
Right.
And that's because we have this idea of perfection. And what that does is when you're there and you're trying to create this perfect holiday and you're working all day and you've been in the kitchen or you're decorating the house or you're making sure everyone is accommodated perfectly. By the time people get there, you're exhausted, you're stressed out, and you feel like this thing about, that you just want people to be really grateful and notice how hard you worked. And sometimes they don't. And that's when things start to get stressful.
Right.
And you get personalities, and sometimes the holidays can also, because of that stress, I think they can bring out sometimes difficult personalities.
Oh, absolutely.
That we all have at times. We all have our difficult side.
Yeah.
And we all have, well, I should just speak for myself here. In my family, we have certain relatives who are maybe a little more difficult than others.
Every family's got those.
Right.
Yeah.
And what they'll do typically is the holiday is a time for sort of letting go for them. And so they might overdrink, which can get ugly because when you overdrink sometimes, you say things that otherwise you would never say.
Right.
And a lot of times they might overeat and not feel good. And another thing that comes up is overspending.
Absolutely.
I mean, any of us have at times, we want to make it perfect, and we buy all this stuff, and then we realize how much expense we went to, and we're in a bind, and that stresses us out too. And all that usually comes out about the time we sit down to eat. Right?
Right.
So I thought it would be really nice to talk about some ways that it doesn't have to be like that.
Good.
One of the first things is that have you ever noticed when you know everybody in your family? You know them, you know what they're like. There's no surprises. And yet, every holiday, someone will act up and they'll do their predictable thing that they did for the last, 15 holidays.
Right.
And we're really upset all over again.
Right.
And I'm like, what is that about? Why does it always catch us like that?
Yeah.
And I think it's just because we put so much into it and we want it to be perfect, and we sort of are in denial. We block out that, oh, this is what happened, the last 15 holidays, and it'll probably happen again, and it's okay. We can manage it. We can handle that.
Right.
So you almost have to give yourself like a little pep talk and some reality therapy
Right.
of what usually happens that makes it not become like this perfection that I envisioned, and how do I want to manage that?
Yeah.
If for the last 3 or 4 years, or however many years, you got into sort of a conflict with someone around their being difficult or over drinking or bringing up things that weren't appropriate for just a fun light holiday,
Yeah.
then you have to come up with a new strategy.
Right.
You devise a new strategy and you say, this year, even though I get triggered and this is my first reaction, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to defer to this person, or I'm just going to make it light and play it off, or
I'm just going to be quiet.
anything you do that's going to be like a different way to do it is going to help. So let's remember a few things that I think are going to be really helpful. Along with that, keep in mind that the whole idea of coming together is to just be with each other. Human personalities, sometimes there's going to be clashes, but it's about being in that moment and being able to have sort of a time together. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be orchestrated. It doesn't have to be where everyone gets along perfectly.
Right.
That's not human nature.
But what's interesting is that even
Yeah.
though there's problems in universal, this is universal in every single home in this world, even though there's problems, everyone keeps coming back again. So clearly there's love amidst the conflict.
Right.
Otherwise they just wouldn't show up again.
And that's an important point, because you have to be sort of strategic about who's going to be there and how do I sort of manage, the situation. So don't try to take on too much,
Right.
because if you're sort of hosting and you're worn out by the time people arrive, you're not on top of things, you're not at your best. It's okay to ask for help. Some people, we get indoctrinated when we're young into doing it all on our own, and you're supposed to have a good time too. This is your holiday also, and don't forget that. So get enough sleep before the day. Ask for help in the kitchen, help setting up, anything, Ask people to help you, of course, who are fairly dependable and won't stress you out more.
Exactly.
So you don't set yourself up for something.
Right.
Create those boundaries that you need.
Yeah.
Another little tip is it's okay to ask people if they have a special food preference, or if they're vegetarian or have some issue. If someone's coming, like an in-law or someone maybe you don't know everything about, it's okay to find out about that,
Right.
so you're prepared and you don't get blindsided at the last minute by a problem.
Right.
But enjoy the holiday and enjoy that you have this time together and that your family, and you can just be who you are. Everyone can be who they are. And that's the best way. That's the best way to have your holiday.
Okay, well that's great.
Excellent advice.
Thank
It's a
you.
universal problem.
Okay, thank you. You've been listening to Talk 1260 KTRC, the Humanity Behind the Vanity. We'll be right back with a nutritional tip from Mark Wood on self-defeating eating behaviors.